I'm Pastor Rambub here at Red Oak First United Methodist Church, and I want to welcome you to our morning devotion on this Wednesday of Holy Week. Now, Scripture doesn't give us any specifics about what the Lord might have been doing on Wednesday of Holy Week when he was in Jerusalem, but the scholars speculate that he had just spent 2 exhausting days in Jerusalem, and that perhaps he and his disciples were simply resting in Bethany in preparation for the Passover meal. So today, in the absence of anything specific that Jesus might have done, I want us to take a look at the story of the fig tree. Now, the story of the fig tree is important. It's related in 3 of the 4 Gospels. The fig tree was just a simple tree, a fig tree, as its name indicates, that was on the pathway or the road between Jerusalem and the village of Bethany, where Jesus and the disciples stayed each night. So each day as they passed by, going from Jerusalem to Bethany, they had to pass by this fig tree. The scripture I chose about the fig tree this morning is from the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 21, verses 18 through 19. Matthew writes this: Early in the morning, as Jesus was on his way back to the city, he was hungry. Seeing a fig tree by the road, he went up to it and found nothing on it except leaves. Then he said to it, "May you never bear fruit again." And immediately the tree withered. Well, when I read that, I thought of the commercial on TV. You've probably seen it, where there's an individual who's not acting like themselves. They are hungry and they're just completely out of sorts, that they appear as somebody completely different. And then somebody else in the commercial says, "Hey, when you're hungry, you're not yourself. So here's a Snickers." So maybe somebody should have given Jesus a Snickers and he wouldn't have destroyed this tree. Well, the person in the commercial was acting out of character. They weren't acting as themselves, but Jesus was acting in character. Jesus was using this as a teaching moment. You see, as the disciples and Jesus pass by, they go by the tree, and Jesus wants to go and check to see if the tree has produced fruit. He walks up to the tree, and as he arrives at the tree, he sees that there is nothing but leaves. There is no fruit on the tree. And so he condemns the tree, and it withers, never to produce fruit again. And so, just like everything Jesus does, this has both a literal and a figurative lesson in it. Literally, the tree does wither. In fact, the scriptures will say, as we would go forward, that the disciples questioned what happened. How did it in fact happen so quickly that the tree withered? And so Jesus takes the opportunity to talk to them about the power of their faith. He says, if your faith is strong enough, then not only can you make this tree wither, but you can say to a mountain, "Move into the sea," and it will do so. Well, figuratively, there are 2 considerations from this story. There's one school of thought that says that this is a judgment toward all the spiritually dead leaders of the time, and speaks to us even today. Those leaders that seem to have forgotten about God and are more concerned with simple good works and what mankind wants. The second consideration is that this story is for all believers. It's for all believers about their faith. That faith must be more than outward piety. In other words, we just can't act appropriately and then not live a true life. Faith must be more than an outward actions. True faith, spiritual faith, must produce spiritual fruit. Spiritual fruit is understood and seen in how we live our lives, and whether or not we're sharing the good news of Jesus Christ, the gospel message. You see, the question for this morning is, when we stand before God, when we stand in front of Jesus, which we all ultimately will, believers or not, we will all stand before Christ. Will we be condemned? Have we not produced fruit? Will we be condemned to wither and die with no more opportunities to serve? Or will we have produced fruit? Will we have fed the hungry, both literally as well as spiritually? So today I want you to consider this. What has Jesus Christ done for you in your life? And number two, consider what he asks you to do for others. Will God bless you, and may the Lord keep you and your family safe during this crisis time. Goodbye for now.